Hello everyone, Aaron here from Rudy Visuals. Hope everyone had a wonderful new year and a very happy 2023 to everyone watching right now. So in today's video, I'm giving you 10 of my top tips so you can improve your videos in 2023. So let's get straight into things. So tip number one is to mix up your focal lengths. For example, using a mixture of 24mm, maybe 35mm, throw in some 50 and some 85. This is simply just to mix things up and keep things fresh for your viewer. Filming everything at the same focal length for your entire video is boring, so variety is key. Don't worry about getting yourself a bunch of different prime lenses, for example. Just get yourself one simple zoom lens, something like a 24-70, and you're pretty much good to go. Number two is to change your perspective. So don't just keep everything at eye level. Don't be afraid to get down, see things from above or below. Let your viewers see things from different perspectives. Moving on to tip three, it's to simply slow down your editing and keep the transitions subtle. So your video shouldn't make your viewer nauseated and have like an epileptic fit. Unless you're making a really fast, impactful ad or purposely filming shots to be transitioned, you don't need to add zooms and spins over every single bloody shot. Transitions can be really meaningful when you use them at strategic times. For example, when there's a big drop in the music, or for example, if you're changing locations in your shot. But you don't need it over every single clip, so just keep it subtle. Just think of transitions as like your hot sauce. You want just a little bit to keep it nice and spicy, but not too much to overpower your footage. Moving on to number four is to just keep it steady. So a simple static shot can be a lot cleaner than like shaky movie footage. So don't underestimate a good tripod shot. You don't have to spend a fortune on an expensive like carbon fiber tripod with like a floating head, but it helps. Something like this 150-pound Manfrotto is gonna save you a ton of headache over like a cheap 15-pound AliExpress piece of crap. So don't even waste your time getting tripods like these ones. And if you do wanna get those cool looking moving shots, get a gimbal. Moving on to number five is to just learn some really simple composition rules. So, things like rule of thirds, eliminating dead space, removing distracting elements. Don't just point and shoot, be more considerate and really think about what it is you're shooting. Remember, it's quality over quantity. And honestly, watching shows on like Netflix and movies is a really great way to just learn how to compose shots. Copy what they do in the movies and apply it into your own work. I like to think of it myself as trying to frame a photo that's basically moving. So number six is to use a lens with a fast aperture to blur out the background so that you can get cinematic looking shots like this. This is a great way to just simply isolate your subject whilst giving a really nice sort of pretty looking background behind them. You don't need to spend a fortune to get really fast 1.2 or f1.4 glass. A nifty 50 1.8mm lens I think is about 100 quid these days. Something like that is going to get you shots looking like this. Moving on to number seven, and that's to use lighting to your advantage. So just avoid things like harsh bright sunlight, shooting right at the middle of lunchtime. Golden hour is king, or just use soft lighting, a cloudy day, or if you're shooting indoors, just buying a cheap softbox is going to make such a big difference. So absolutely the biggest mistake you can make is underestimating what a huge difference bad versus good light and how that can affect your video. These days, it's not that expensive to get yourself a decent LED panel and a softbox kit to go with it. But if you are just simply vlogging outside, just don't shoot in the sun, move to the shade. The next tip is to use good audio. So just simply buying a decent microphone, finding good music and using sound effects. It doesn't really matter how good your video looks at the end of the day. If it sounds like it was recorded on with like a potato, nobody is going to want to listen. So, decent mics for cameras these days are really cheap, and music and sound effects that complement your video can add an entire dimension of depth and emotion to your video. So use it to your advantage. We personally use Artlist for our music and sound effects, but there's lots of choice out there. Tip number 9 is to color correct and color grade your footage, but be careful, be subtle, and don't go overboard with it. Remember, most consumer to sort of mid-range cameras aren't really designed for elaborate color grading, as doing too much can be really destructive for your footage. If you're just using your phone or an action camera like a GoPro, it's probably better just to leave the footage as it is. But if you do shoot on a sort of higher end camera, take your time to learn about color correcting and color grading. The difference can be absolutely huge. My final tip is a really simple one. It's just to invest in a decent camera. Now, you don't need the latest or greatest, but even like a £500 camera with some good interchangeable lenses can be such a big improvement over like a phone or a GoPro style camera, and will give you so much more creative choice. And if you're thinking, wow, I really want the, a certain camera and it's just so expensive, there are options. You could finance, people spend thousands on their phones or cars. So if you budget and save up for a bit, it's not within the realms of most people to get an affordable, decent camera. And that's pretty much it. Those are my 10 tips to improve your videos in 2023. I'd love to hear your opinions. Let us know down there in the comment section below what advice you'd give to other people as well to improve their videos. Wanted to say a huge thank you to all of our subscribers who've made it this far. And if you're watching this and you're not subscribed yet, it'd be great to have you on board as well. If you found this video helpful, then give it a like and do all that stuff that the algorithm likes. Also, would love to see you guys on our Instagram and Facebook. And I guess until then, I will see you next time. Sampai jumpa lagi.